So in the past 24 hours, we officially made 5 videos. So do me a favor and just smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm and consider subscribing and turning on my notifications if you enjoyed the content. I literally did all of this on like 3.5 hours of sleep. So here we go. Before we get to the content, just wanted to remind you guys that I partnered with Get Like Coop and Mike Korzemba to form a podcast on a separate YouTube channel. It's also going to be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for those of you guys asking, called Laced Up. It's the top link in the description down below. I'm really excited about this, and if you subscribe and turn on our notifications, which means hitting the bell on the Laced Up podcast, you have entered for a chance to win a PlayStation 5. In addition to that, I'm doing a PlayStation 5 or Xbox One giveaway on my Instagram account. All you have to do is follow me on Instagram and hit that notification bell there as well to enter for a chance to win an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5. Now that we got all of that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? So this is our final piece of news, I at least think, before I bring you guys my biggest winners and losers of the trade deadline. So feel free to take to the comments to let me know who the biggest winners and losers are to get a chance to be featured in our next video. So since the last video I made, the Toronto Raptors officially said that they were trading guard Terrence Davis to Sacramento for a future second-round pick. Now on top of this, they also did a trade between themselves and the Utah Jazz by trading Matt Thomas to the Utah Jazz for a future second-round pick as well. Many of us hypothesized that the reason why they did this was because Kyle Lowry was very close to getting traded, because they wanted to free up 2 roster spots. But alas, the trade deadline came and went, and we officially got word from Adrian Wojnarowski that the Toronto Raptors are keeping Kyle Lowry. So he's going nowhere. The Lakers didn't want to include Talen Horton-Tucker, and the Miami Heat didn't want to include Tyler Hero. And who could really blame the Miami Heat? When you see what they did to get Victor Oladipo, your jaw is going to drop. On top of that, on the Lonzo Ball front, there's no Lonzo Ball trade, and I couldn't help but have a hunch that all of these rumors were just running rampant because Lonzo Ball's a big name. He finds himself in trade rumors each and every year, and now I'm starting to feel like Lonzo Ball is going to be a core piece of the New Orleans Pelicans future, mainly because if you aren't going to trade him at the trade deadline, chances are you're going to be leaning towards matching his contract no matter what he gets offered in the offseason. Accountability time, all the rumors about Lonzo Ball were incorrect. I apologize for that. I literally just bring you guys what Woj, Shams, and other sources say. These aren't rumors I create by myself, bear that in mind, and I try to identify whether they're plausible or not. Now, in addition to this, we got word that the Boston Celtics aren't done wheeling and dealing. They made a trade for Mo Wagner by sending Daniel Tice to the Chicago Bulls. Now, in addition to this, the Golden State Warriors have decided to trade Marquise Chris to the San Antonio Spurs. At this time, it's unclear what the Golden State Warriors are going to get in return, but we know that LaMarcus Aldridge hasn't been traded yet from the San Antonio Spurs, which makes him a huge buyout candidate and a player to watch moving forward. He's been linked to the Miami Heat, who have made some pretty remarkable moves during the trade deadline. So just an update, as I was editing this video, guys, we just got words from Cham Charania that LaMarcus Aldridge is officially finalizing a contract buyout with the San Antonio Spurs, sources tell The Athletic, and at the stadium. We also got word that LaMarcus Aldridge is expected to be signing with the Miami Heat, and this is according to Adrian Wojnarowski. Once LaMarcus Aldridge completes a buyout with the Spurs, the Miami Heat are expected to emerge as a frontrunner to sign him. Sources tell ESPN Aldridge plans to talk with several teams before finalizing a decision. So this is a little bit different from when Blake Griffin negotiated his buyout, because it was like a foregone conclusion that Blake was going to go to the Nets. There wasn't even a plan to talk to other teams. It seems like Aldridge is going to give other teams a chance to potentially recruit him before he makes his decision. but the Miami Heat remain favorites so far. Now, before we get to this next part, let me know in the comment section, do you think the Pelicans made a mistake keeping Lonzo? Do you think they should have traded him to a team for a first round pick maybe? And do you think it's going to be worth potentially matching his contract, which is going to be a pretty hefty contract coming forward because he's going to hit restricted free agency? Some team's going to offer him a crazy, probably like a $22 or $23 million contract, and the New Orleans Pelicans will have to match that if they want to keep him. The next piece of information is a saga that we finally all got to see concluded. The Cleveland Cavaliers last year were able to trade for Andre Drummond and get him from the Detroit Pistons for next to nothing. And they tried to flip him this year, but weren't even able to get a second round pick for him. This is very fascinating to me because I grew up in an age where the traditional center was oftentimes the focal point of a team. A player like Dwight Howard was drafted #1 overall in the 2005 NBA draft, with Emeka Okafor going after him, mainly because these giants and these centers were viewed as players that you ran your offense through. Now it's different. In the NBA, the traditional center has fallen behind. As a result, Andre Drummond's skill set, which is one that used to be heavily sought after, despite being in the prime of his career, averaging a double-double this year, instead of even getting a second-round pick for him, because the modern NBA doesn't value his position, he is getting bought out by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I made a video saying that currently the Los Angeles Lakers are favorites for Andre Drummond. Now, the buyout market is one that we should heavily monitor. DeMarcus Cousins is also available, although he's no longer the player that he once was, and LaMarcus Aldridge should be bought out momentarily as well. Now, in addition to this, I no longer have to eat a tub of ice cream in my live stream on Instagram because the Dallas Mavericks have officially traded for JJ Redick from the New Orleans Pelicans, which thank goodness, because I really want to see Luka Doncic get some help down in Dallas. But on top of that, I was terrified that he was going to go to the Brooklyn Nets, and that's what people were saying yesterday, and I'm glad to report that that report is officially wrong. It's super embarrassing when I have to confirm that a rumor is incorrect, but I hope you guys can understand that I'll always be 100% with you guys and only report what I hear that sounds somewhat plausible, and I'm very happy that rumor season's over. But a rumor that has been going on for the past year and a half that has finally fulfilled its destiny, finally fulfilled his potential, is one that I probably said multiple times over the past year, and that's that it's a foregone conclusion that someday Victor Oladipo will be a member of the Miami Heat. Now, earlier today I tweeted out that the Houston Rockets would literally be brain dead if they held on to Victor Oladipo, because they pretty much would be getting this marquee player that is going to walk away from their team for absolutely nothing. Now, bear in mind, I'm assuming the Miami Heat knew that they had this leverage, so as a result, they were able to get Victor Oladipo for next to nothing. Because according to Champ Charania, the Houston Rockets have officially traded Victor Oladipo to the Miami Heat for Avery Bradley and Kelly Olynyk and a draft swap. If you're a Houston Rockets fan, you do not feel good about this, because in my opinion, Victor Oladipo is a pretty freaking good player, but the fact that he made it known to the entire world that, hey, once I'm a free agent, I'm going to Miami, pretty much put the Houston Rockets in this situation where the player that they received for James Harden wasn't going to accept a trade to any team but the Miami Heat. And Pat Riley, being the shark that he is, went up to the Houston Rockets and say, listen, you could either trade us Victor Oladipo right now and get Avery Bradley and Kelly Olynyk in a draft swap, or you could just wait until the offseason, have Victor Oladipo on your roster until the offseason, and just lose him for nothing. It's a lose-lose situation if you're the Houston Rockets, and it's a situation that will always have me going back to the original James Harden trade as to why the Houston Rockets initially chose the Brooklyn Nets offer over the Philadelphia 76ers offer. I don't know if it was because they were trying to grant James Harden his wish, or if it's because of this rumor that the owner of the Rockets didn't want to give James Harden back to Daryl Morey because of some petty feud they had. Either way, I feel like this was a very unfortunate situation for the Houston Rockets to be in, and it's one that they found themselves in. that should conclude this year's trade deadline. Our next video is going to be the biggest winners and losers of the NBA trade deadline. So go ahead and comment and let me know who you thought did the best in the deadline and who you thought did the worst. And we should be covering the buyout market very extensively on this channel. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell and to check us out on Laced Up. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.